win the game last Saturday. I believe Nevada's a good football team, and they'll win some games the rest of the way. Our football team had been improving in practice, and we were waiting for a time when the results showed up on the field. So they did. The challenge will be this week getting our football team ready to go. You've got a young football team and making sure to handle a win. Sometimes everybody takes that as a foregone conclusion, but I think it's going to be important that we come back to practice today, have good focus, good attention to detail, get ourselves moving forward. And we are going to have some returning players. You saw on the depth chart, Lucas Walk is back, Robert Priester is back. We're in hopes. Tanner Gentry did not finish the game, but we're in hopes that we'll have Tanner. And so I think we're a little bit more healthy than we were the previous week, and it should be an exciting ball game. I think we have a couple members of media online or over the phone. Any questions?
Yes, Coach, Dave Southern got the statement here.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask about the offensive progress. It seems like it certainly played against Nevada. It seems like each week kind of maybe taking a step up. Where would you kind of assess where that group's at?
A little bit of a mixed bag. I thought last week, anytime your quarterback plays well, that's going to certainly help. There were some things that really helped Cam's performance. Now, he was spot on, but I thought we did a really nice job protecting him, and certainly the balance of the running game helped. Against Air Force, we didn't have that type of balance, and so when Brian's going, we got some holes. That really makes a difference. Many times he can generate some yardage on his own, which is always certainly an advantage. And when Cam's playing well and we're protecting him well, we've made good progress, and I think we've improved each week.
Some of the numbers you look at what Cam's been able to do, what Brian's been able to do. The numbers are there, but I know obviously sometimes the 0.7 counts. How would you kind of attribute that to, and how much of a is that something you guys have talked about? Maybe if those points had counted, certainly the record may be a little different.
Well, we can't do anything about what's in the rearview mirror other than learn from some things. I think we've been, somewhat our own, not critic, but sometimes our own worst enemy between untimely penalties and miscues. We've moved the ball. Certainly our yardage has been good, and at times I've stood on the sidelines and looked at the scoreboard and seen how much the ball's moved, and then looked at the point production. They don't equate. And I think we really emphasized the red zone. It was great for us to see us score on a power running play from the 5-yard line with a true freshman, Kellen Overstreet. And so we're going to continue to emphasize the red zone this week. We've got to do a good job getting down there, but there's no doubt we have not been as efficient as putting points on the board as what our offensive productivity yard-wise equates to.
You kind of mentioned the process and stuff. How close is this offense getting to be the way you want it to look, and getting those right guys there and all that stuff?
Well, I think we're still a ways away. I'd like to think that we're really close, but anytime you're starting two true freshman linemen or two true freshman linemen are playing, just their baseline of understanding and knowledge of all the different things that come at them, that's a challenge. Continuing to develop fullback play is a challenge. In our tight ends, we use our tight ends and U-backs a significant amount. So we've made progress. We're not where we want to be, but we have made progress. Well, Tanner's been a big play guy for us all year long, and he's got a slight AC sprain, and those things, sometimes the guy's able to come back and play at full speed, sometimes they're not, and so we'll know a little bit more as the week goes along.
And then finally, for me, Boise State, the opportunity to play against those guys, and obviously they're coming off a tough one that might, put a little bit of a wrinkle in it for you guys that they might be a little fired up, but just your thoughts on Boise State.
Well, they're an outstanding program. Think the world of Brian. They've won an awful lot of games. They've sit at the top of our conference. you know, the short time they've been in the Mountain West. They enjoy a national reputation. I can tell you this, our football program is so young that our main focus and our main concern is about the Cowboys and trying to improve the Cowboys. And we certainly understand that Boise is a great team, but their mental state and how they are, we really can't do anything about that. We got to take care of our own challenges that we have. We're here present.
I know you said you're hopeful to get Tanner back, but if he can't go or if he's limited, I mean, I know we've talked a lot about your young receivers, and Jake's had a good season. Is there anyone in particular that, you know, you'd like to step up?
I think you'll see James Price. I think he played quite a bit last Saturday, and so he'd probably be the next guy. I know we've got Joe Parker listed, but there's a whole collection of guys, and James would probably fit into that Z position.
You know, you look at Boise on film, 8 turnovers against Utah State, 7 in the first half, and that just doesn't happen very often. Did you see anything there? Was it just one of those things that snowballed, or you seeing anything in particular that, you know, that?
Well, first of all, I thought Utah State was very aggressive. You know, they went for a lot of strips, and they hawked the ball when the ball was in the air. So you need to credit Utah State with some of those takeaways. And then I'm sure there's nights sometimes when you just don't play particularly well. You know, I saw some things that you know, that number of turnovers is unusually high for anybody, no matter what type of offense you run. It's going to be difficult for you to sustain an opportunity to win, and that certainly didn't happen there. So probably a little bit of mixed bag. Utah State, I thought, you know, did some really good things, but I'm sure the coaches of Boise looked at the tape and said we can play a whole lot better.
Coach, Chase Appleby isn't listed. Have you had any results from the MRI yet? Is it
no, not yet, but I can tell you we're hopeful on Tanner. I would say it would be something unusual that's going to come up, the MRI, that would go counter to what our observations or initial diagnosis was. So he's not listed, and I think we'll have him gone for the year, but we'll find out for sure.
And then Sean Wicks is still on there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you expecting to get him back at all this season?
But we're hopeful. You know, Sean, I talked with Sean this morning, and he's making progress, just not as fast as what I'm sure he or us would like, but that's another concussion protocol that we go through, and you know, it's a little bit longer than normal, but everybody heals in a different way.
I know last year's game with Boise was a rough one and everything, and you mentioned just that you're worried about what the Cowboys can do, but to go up there and you know, I know you're going up to win the game, but to be more competitive, because I know that one that was kind of low for this team last year.
You know what, it's always difficult to look way back, Robert, but if there was one game that I thought we did not compete in, that there was in my sense, an evaluation of quote giving up, I think that was the game. And you know, for us to move forward as a football program, we pride ourselves in being competitive and tough, and then maybe sometimes we may be out executed, or we may be out played because of maturity, but what we have done this year is competed every time. And you're right, our goal is to go in there with a plan and opportunity to win, and that's what we're focused on. But the comments I made earlier to the sports writer from Idaho, Statesman, was, you know, our main concern is just our process, our maturation process, a step forward to getting us better this week, and that's what we're going to be focused on during the course of practice.
What do you see from Boise defensively? Because even though they, you know, there was a lot of the turnovers, but they're top 20 defense in a lot of categories. Is it speed? Is it physicality? What do you see particularly in that?
There's a combination. You know, you've got, first of all, you go through their listings. They play a lot of veteran players, and some of the guys, you know, have been, you know, noted for a long time. You know, I think their safety Thompson, as you know, is one of the top safeties in the country. You know, I've been particularly impressed with their secondary. They operate out of a 3 down front. They're big, strong guys up front, but they're just not strong guys. I mean, they have the ability to move. I think his name is Correa. I know his number 8. He flies all over the field. And I saw him run a receiver down from Utah State. And, I mean, it was a long gain. He ran it down. And then the next play, he's up on the line of scrimmage, and and challenging on a counterplay. So, and they've got really talented players, and they play very hard.
Coach, you've had a number of players this year that moved from one position to another, some from offense to defense, and it seemed like last week was probably the best that they've played collectively. What have your thoughts been on their play this year?
Well, you know, what we've seen is continual improvement. We certainly have shuffled that lineman, trying to find the right formula, the right guys at the right time. I think we're getting closer, and you know, more consistency is really going to be a hallmark for us over the long haul. So while there'll be some tinkering of the lineup this week due to some guys being able to come back, I think the mass shuffling that you saw in the offseason, and then also the shuffling in the first couple games, obviously we'd like to have over, and that's passed. And now we have our guys, and we're going to go out there and practice and get these guys ready to go.